Hey, what is up everybody? It is Brendan Kutschbach here today, and I'm going to talk about the most important thing that hardly anybody has, and that is how to obtain a good credit score. So me personally, according to Credit Karma, I have a 777 score with both TransUnion and as well as Experian. I believe those are the two credit reporting agencies that they use. So I got Brooklyn in the back, that's my daughter, and we're just here in the car because it's really the only quiet place that we can film. So hopefully she remains quiet for this video, but we're gonna go ahead and hop right into it. So let's talk about the reason why you need a good credit score in the first place. First and foremost, if you ever plan on getting a credit card, a mortgage, auto loan, a student loan, any sort of line of credit or a loan, you need to have a good credit score because one, that will allow the banking or financial institution to one, give you the credit card or the loan, but two, most importantly, it actually allows you to obtain the lowest interest rates possible depending on how high your credit score is. And why wouldn't you want a lower interest rate? Because ultimately that loan or that line of credit will then cost you less. Also, America is a renter's nation, so if you plan on renting a home, typically they run a credit check. And if you have low credit, then that means that they're probably going to typically charge you a higher deposit or maybe not even rent to you at all. But to me personally, I find it absolutely surprising that most people don't have a good credit score because really it's not that hard to obtain a good credit score. But the thing is about credit that most people don't realize is that obtaining a good credit score is a game, and in order to master the game, you first have to know the rules of the game. So in this video, I'm just going to talk about the rules, and if you follow these rules, you will have a good credit score ultimately. So the credit reporting agencies, they use different methods and they score you in different categories to figure out your overall credit score. And so we need to know what they score us on, almost like a rubric that you're being graded on to have a good credit score. And some are very high impact and some are very low impact. So it's very important to focus on all of them, but mainly put your attention towards the high impact ones. The first credit scoring category that makes up 35% of your overall score is on-time payments. 35% is on-time payments. And for me, I don't really see why this is such a big issue for so many people to make on-time payments. Personally, I've been paying bills since I was 18 years old. I'm 23 now. I know I got a lot of life left to live and I might make a late payment in the future. I doubt it though. And the reason why is because it's 2020. We live in the 21st century. Every single payment that I have is always set up for automatic payments, and I always make sure that the money that I'm spending on bills is always in my account. I never spend more than what I make, so that way I never have to worry about an auto loan or a credit card company saying, hey, there wasn't enough money in your checking account to cover the bill. But for me, I just see it as very simple. Just make sure that your bills are always significantly less than what you make and set up automatic payments. If you set up automatic payments, you will never, ever have a late payment. And just to kind of reemphasize this, I actually have 8 credit cards and 2 auto loans underneath my name. And I don't know, honestly, I cannot tell you. I cannot tell you the due date for any of those bills. I have no idea when they are due. Maybe that's unwise of me, but it's automatic payment. I realize that I will never, ever make a payment late because it'll automatically be taken out. So I highly recommend that. Just set up automatic payments and always make sure that your payments are always less than what you make, and this shouldn't really be an issue for you. And the next category that the credit reporting agencies report you on is your overall credit utilization. And what they want to see here is they want to see a low credit utilization rate, typically less than 10%. So here's an example. If you have a credit card and this is your only line of credit that you have no loans, no other credit cards, you just have one credit card and it has a $1,000 line of credit. If you spend $1,000 of that $1,000 credit, you have just maxed out your credit card and your credit utilization rate is 100%. But if you only spend $100 of that $1,000 credit limit, then your credit utilization ratio is 10%, and that's what they want to see. They want to see 10% or less. And so it's very easy to actually get over 10% if you have very little credit available to you. And this isn't just 10% per credit card, this is 10% of all your lines of credit. So what they need to see is they need to see that you have multiple credit cards and see that you're making charges across all these credit cards and that you are using less than 10%. So that's the easiest way. If you're gonna put all your spending on credit cards, if you are going to have bills automatically be charged to credit cards, make sure that you have very high lines of credit so that way you can always maintain less than 10%. And the reason why this is important is they wanna see that you have self-control. They see people who max out their credit cards or who spend over 10% as risky. They're afraid that they don't know how to handle their money. They're afraid that they don't know how to budget their money. They're afraid that what's going to happen is you're going to spend more money than what you make. You're not going to be able to make your payments, and then sure, you're going to get some interest and stuff tacked on, but ultimately they're afraid that you're going to go into default and declare bankruptcy, and ultimately they lose money. So the thing is it's just you have to have a low credit utilization ratio, less than 10%. Get multiple lines of credit and have a high line of credit, and you will be absolutely fine. This will help you seem very low risk to lenders. The next category that makes up 15% of your total credit score is your length of credit history. So this is why I always recommend the day that you turn 18 is the day that you should get your first line of credit. That's the day that you should get a credit card. And the reason why is because 15%, yes, it's low impact, but time is something that we can't speed up. We just have to wait for time. Literally on Credit Karma, it shows that like I'm in the red because I don't have much credit history, because my credit history is only 5 years old. My earliest credit card I got like when I was 18. So it's very important to start your credit journey as soon as possible. So again, when you turn 18, go ahead, get a credit card, use it responsibly, and also don't get rid of lines of credit. Like if you have a credit card that you no longer use at all, and it doesn't cost you any money, it doesn't have an annual fee to it, make sure that you keep that account open, because there's no reason to cancel it. There's so much credit history behind that card, especially if it's one of your very first cards. So always make a transaction or two every financial quarter on that card just to keep it open and active. This is just another one of those things where time is of the essence. So it's very important, if you haven't started building your credit report now, if you don't have any credit under your name, make sure you go out there and get a credit card. Just be responsible with it. The next category that makes up your credit report is your total credit lines. So what lenders they want to see is they want to see that you have multiple lines of credit. They want to see that you have auto loans, mortgages, multiple different credit cards, because they want to see that you're not just responsible with paying one company consistently. They want to see that you're good with handling your money. They want to see that you're able to pay back your bank, Chase, American Express, Discover. They want to see that you're able to keep paying your auto loans. They want to see that you are diversified in credit and that you are wise with your money and wise with your payments and able to pay off everybody consistently in full and on time. Personally, the way that I've built having a 777 credit score is because I am diversified with credit cards. I have a credit card by Discover, I have 2 by American Express, 3 by Chase, and 2 by my personal bank. I believe that's 8 credit cards. And then on top of that, I have my own vehicle. This is an auto loan. And then also on top of that, I have a second auto loan in my name, but I actually don't really own the vehicle. My dad owns the vehicle. He just didn't have a good enough credit score in order to obtain the loan, so he pays for it, but I got the loan underneath my name. But ultimately, it's still helping out my score, and my dad has a steady cash flow from his job, so I know that there's no risk to me because my dad's not going to default on the loan. But the point is I have 10 things on my credit score at the age of 23, 8 credit cards, 2 auto loans, and that's why I have a good score and consistent payments across all of them. So I'm not saying go out there and just get mortgages and auto loans and get yourself in tons and tons and tons of debt so that way you can have multiple lines of credit. But what I am saying is go out there and get multiple lines of credit via credit cards that don't have annual fees, and just go ahead and do some spending on those and make sure you pay off everything on time and in full, because then you'll have no interest payments on those whatsoever and you build up your credit score. And the last category that makes up 10% of your total credit score is the total amount of hard inquiries. So what is a hard inquiry? That is where a company or you actually pulls your credit to look at your credit score, your credit history. Usually that happens when you're trying to open a line of credit, when you're trying to get a new credit card, open up a mortgage or an auto loan, something along those lines. So they want to see that you have very little hard inquiries, because the more hard inquiries that you have, it seems that you're impossibly risky. They're afraid that you're going to open up tons of different lines of credit, max out those cards, get them all in cash advances, run away, never be heard of again, and then all these different companies, they just lose out on their money. I don't want anyone here to be afraid of hard inquiries, because hard inquiries is a necessary thing that we need to do in order to play the game of having a good credit score. You have to obtain lines of credit, so you have to have hard inquiries. So that's just part of the game. Also, it's a very low impact on your score. It's only 10%. So if you get a hard inquiry, it's only going to drop your score by just a few points, and it shows in your credit report for just about 2 years. What you really want to stay away from is what we mentioned earlier. You want to stay away from late payments, because late payments, they drop your score drastically if you fall below a 99% on-time payment history. And that will stay on your credit report for 7 years. So focus on the hard impact stuff the most, and then if you can, focus on the low impact. It's better to focus on everything, but really if you want to fix your credit score and just raise it through the roof, make sure that you start consistently paying on time, and make sure that you have a low credit utilization rate, as well as that you start building your credit and just have tons and tons of credit history with years of on-time payment. And the last thing that I want to talk about is just some general credit card myths that I keep hearing, and I just want to clear those out of the air. So with a credit card, yes, you do pay interest, but you only pay interest if you don't pay on time and in full. So if you carry a balance, you're going to pay interest. There are so many people out there that just assume that if you get a credit card, and let's just say it has a 20% interest, every transaction that you make, you're going to pay an additional 20% on top of that transaction. That is simply not the case. You can have a credit card, make tons of different transactions on there, and as long as you pay off the card in full, the entire balance at the end of the month on time, you will not pay any interest or any late fees. So don't think that just because you have a credit card, you're going to be paying interest. That's not the case. It's only if you screw up, you're going to be paying interest. Also, I want to talk about some general rules when it comes to having credit cards. First and foremost, when you have a line of credit, when you have a credit card, make sure that you treat it as if it was a debit card. Make sure that you only spend the money that you have available to you, and I would honestly recommend spending less than the money that you have available to you. So meaning that if you bring home $5,000 a month, your bills should be significantly less than $5,000 a month. Never spend more than what you make. And then another rule with credit cards is it's very good just to go ahead and log into whatever credit card company you have account, whether it's Chase or American Express, it doesn't matter, but just consistently look at your balance, because when we pay with credit cards, or even debit cards for that matter, it's very quick and easy to lose track of what you spent as compared to cash. If you start off with a $100 bill in cash and you start going around and spending money, you can see that money depleting and depleting and depleting and depleting. But it's so easy to make charges with a credit card or a debit card and never even notice the balance growing. So consistently, I would say at least every 3 to 4 days, just go ahead and log into your financial institution and just see what the balance is, and it's a good way to monitor your spending and make sure that you don't spend more than what you have. And one other tip that you guys should also know, I use Credit Karma to monitor my credit score. I mentioned Credit Karma earlier in the video, but I believe everyone should have a Credit Karma account. It's 100% free to use, free to you, and you can actually not only see your credit report, but it kind of gives you data on what makes your credit score the way that it is, and that's where I got all my numbers and all my data from. And then lastly, when you're looking for a new credit card, what I love about Credit Karma is you can actually go over to the credit card section and you can see your approval odds for different cards. So if you're looking for a business card, a travel card, any type of card, you can find it within Credit Karma, and it can take your data that Credit Karma has on you, compare it to what they think are the data requirements for obtaining that credit card and being approved, and you can see your chance of approval. And credit cards, honestly, it opens up so many more doors than just having a good credit score. I also use credit cards to obtain cheap flights or free flights with credit card points. So if you guys are interested in that, go ahead and drop a comment below. And lastly, I just wanted to thank everyone who watched this video, because it's so important to have a good credit score out there, and so many people don't know the rules of the game, and I'm hoping that this has taught everyone how to play the game of having a good credit score, and this will help you obtain lower interest rates, a better overall score. You could get that apartment that you want to rent or qualify for that mortgage now that you have a better score. I'm hoping that this video helped you, so please drop a like below and leave a comment if you found this helpful, and also let me know what you want to see. This video is mainly about financial independence, entrepreneurship, personal finance, and travel. Wait, before you guys go, at the time of editing this video, my credit score jumped. It's no longer a 777. It is now over an 800 for the first time in my credit history ever. It's been 5 years in the making. I finally have over an 800 credit score, and I'm here to share it with you guys now. sorry to add this last little piece on here, but it's March 1st, the day that I decided to edit this video that I filmed a few days ago back in February. Credit Karma has updated, and now I have an 806 with TransUnion and an 801 with Equifax, and that is just the power of Credit Karma. It shows you all this stuff, all this data for free. So seriously, get Credit Karma, guys. All right, sorry for the long video. Peace.